Hey guys, my name is Jennifer and I am Jenofeve Designs, and today I thought we would talk about workbooks, more specifically my workbooks. You have to excuse my voice. It's very early on Friday morning and I woke up and I checked my Facebook group, and there's been a lot of chatter and a lot of confusion about the workbooks, and we are currently working on the Wanderlust printable templates, which is new. So I want to start there. I want to start by saying that I did not film this workbook. However, I did make this workbook the exact same way I made the Everlasting workbook. And in all of my videos, I have a description box or a show more box. On your phone, it doesn't say anything, it's just an arrow. So I'm going to show you that here in just a second. But if you open up that box, a whole bunch of stuff appears, and there are links to things. There is a link to, there's a playlist for my workbooks, all of the different workbooks that I've made, and there's a link to the Everlasting workbook. Now the templates are different, but the way I made it, the steps in which I took to make it are exactly the same. I made this workbook the exact same way I made the Everlasting workbook. And I don't film every workbook because it's the same process and it just kind of gets a little redundant over time. So I always put that link in there. So if you go to that link and follow that video, I made this workbook the exact same way. So let me show you on my phone. I think I'm going to sit my phone down. Maybe I'll sit it down on the wood. I'm going to scoot you in, I think. Okay, how's that? Can you all see okay? So I'm on my channel, and I'm just going to hit today's videos. Today's Friday. And there's an ad, so we're just going to ignore that. But if you look closely, right here is the title, and it says Wanderlust, Floral Whimsy Pages in Elastic, #2 by Jenofeve Designs. So right next to that on my phone is a little arrow, and if you hit that arrow, it opens up all of this. So there's all this information. Whoops, you can't see it all. There's all this information down here, okay? So down here, there is links to the printables, there's links to other videos mentioned, there's links to products mentioned, and then there's one that says how I made my workbook, and then right below it, it says workbook playlist. Okay, so if you hit how I made my workbook, the video that pops up is the Everlasting video. So again, the Wanderlust workbook was made exactly the same as this workbook. So I also wanted to mention that if you're on your computer, I don't know if there's an arrow, but it says show more underneath the title. So let me scoot you back out. Whoops. So every time I say check the description box, that's where I'm talking about, in the show more section under the video. So, a lot of people want to know, let me scoot you back out a little more. Whoop, not in, out. So people ask me all the time, why do I have 2 workbooks? Well, one is not a workbook. This book is for me. I call it a spec book now. That's what my husband told me that's what it's called. So what I do for every template that I have, I print out my guidebook and I print out all of the templates. And the reason I do this is because, you know, in 2 years' time from now, you might have a question about something in this template. Well, I can't remember off the top of my head, so I have to come into my spec book and look to get the answer for you. So I make these for every single one of my templates. You do not have to make this unless you're just over-organized like I am. So keep that in mind. You do not have to make this, okay? You do not have to print out, where's it at? If you do not want to, you do not have to print out the guide, the PDF that is the guide for the templates. What you could do is you could take that information from your computer screen and you can copy it down onto your templates. So I'm going to put this one aside because, again, this is what I make for me for future reference for you guys. You do not have to make one of these. So this is my current workbook, okay? Let me flip that so there's not a glare. So what I do is I print off page number 1 in the actual templates, okay? I print off, well, I actually print off the whole thing, but so I'm just going to explain it as best I can. So this is page number 1, and I print it onto regular paper. This isn't cardstock or anything. It's just regular paper, and I print it, most of the time, I print it in the plain. There's no reason to waste ink, but when I print the traceable template part, I usually use my newest background design because it's pretty, and but you don't have to do that either. You can just use plain. So I print them all off onto plain paper. Then I sit down and I write down, well, this is the mini album covers, okay? So I go through and I go from my guidebook. So not that you are making a guidebook. If you just were going off your computer screen, you would go to page number 1, and whatever information you want or you find useful from this guidebook, you can transfer it onto here. You can just write it onto there really quick. So you don't have to print this out. You can actually copy it straight from your computer screen. So then if it has like a insert, let's see, like, whoops, oh, I just blew up my candle. Whoops, hold on. My allergies have been so bad, so I've been keeping this salt candle next to me. My mom gave them to me a long time ago, so I've been keeping it close by to try to help with my allergies. So anyway, so if it has a specific use or an insert, for example, like this says insert, or let me find, like here, gift card sleeve, the insert is on page 11. So that is what I copied down onto the plain piece of paper, so that I know when I want that insert that it is on this page. So here they are right there. And then this says insert for gift card sleeve on page 9. So I copy down all of that information. And then what I go do is I put page number 1, page number 2 back to back. I don't print it back to back. I print them on their own individual pages. I put them back to back, and then I laminate them. And the reason I do that is because I want to have a solid surface for my traceable template. So this is like the cover of the mini album. So these are meant for you can either print it directly onto your pattern paper, or you can trace these out onto chipboard, cut them out, and then you can assemble your album from there. So I use some really cheap tape runner tape. This one I get from the Tape Depot for my ATG gun. And then I de-stick it, and then I stick it here. So I've always got this template. Now, if you don't want to laminate your pages, let me show you a couple of my other workbooks. So this one is the Stack the Pages workbook, and this was the very first workbook I made for my templates. So I didn't even use any sort of sleeve. I just literally printed it out, punched it, used my bind it all, and made a book, wrote on there, and then I attached little pockets in front and behind to add. So the reason I do that is because, let's say I wanted to use this as a traceable template. Well, instead of sticking it to the paper, I can just slide it here in this pocket, so I've got it for that. So this is like the simplest version, I guess, or the first version that I did for my workbook. So the only sleeves are just ones I've added in to hold the different little bits and pieces, or if I printed it directly onto pattern paper, if I didn't use something, I stuck it in these little sleeves. So this is one way to make a workbook, and this is also, the way I did this one is also in that list of how I made my workbooks. So that's one way. That was my first way. And then here's the second workbook I made, and this one is the ultimate DIY printable template. So this one, I took plain page protectors. It's going to be hard to see, but I just took page protectors, the cheapy kind that you can get at any store, and I printed my templates onto regular copy paper, and then I stuck it down to the page protector. I didn't slide it in the page protector. I think these, well, I don't remember, but I just stuck it down on top. I wrote all the information all of that. And then here is the actual traceable template. So it's stuck down to the back side of this page protector. Now, so I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's like the workbooks are like evolving over time. So this was the second workbook I made. And then the third workbook I made is the Paper Dream. Now this one I didn't bind myself. This one I took to Staples and they put that spiral binding in for me. But again, this one is in my playlist of how I made my workbooks. So this one I'm still using a regular sleeve, a page protector sleeve, see? But this time I put the printed template inside that page protector, right? All the information is still written on there. And this particular template has 2 sets of mats. So I printed off on cardstock. I printed those 2 different mats off on cardstock, cut them out, wrote on what they were, and stuck them to this page. So anytime I wanted to mat this page, I had the mats right there for me, okay? So I did that with all of this one, and this one I have tabs for page numbers and stuff. So this is another way to make your workbook, right? Okay, so that's how that one was made. Then, what's next here? So then I did, this is the large keepsake. I made this workbook the exact same way that I made the Paper Dream workbook, so I don't think I filmed this one. I'm almost positive I didn't. But the exact same way, page protectors, printed off a sheet, put it in there, and then I have my traceable template here on top. Okay. So then came the everlasting. So this is the newest way I make my workbooks, and this is my most favorite way to make my workbooks. Okay, so this video is in that playlist of how I made my workbooks. So what I did was I printed off all of the templates, and this time I used my newest background design at the time. I did print them, but you can print them on plain. You don't have to print a background design because that page is not going to be used for anything. It's just for decoration, really. It's just for, if you want to put the background design, it's just for your aesthetic. If you want to look at that every time you're in your workbook, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I printed these off, and again, they are individual pages. This is just on regular paper. Printed all of the templates off, put them back to back, laminated them, and then, you know, cut the top off so that I have a pocket. Let's see, is there anything in this pocket? I can't tell. Like here is an example. This is something I printed off but didn't use. So it is in this pocket. So next time I go to make one of these books, I have an extra page to use if I need it. So this template does have mats, right? So if it has a mat, then it has, that page has been printed off separately onto cardstock, put the information on there, and then I stuck it to the page that it mats. Okay, so I did that for all of these. So if, for example, like there's a lot of times where you'll have a page that has tabs, but you can use it as a traceable template as well. So I will print that off on cardstock, that page once again off on cardstock, and then I will cut it out, and that way when I go to trace, I just remember to leave space for a tab. But then there is the mat on top of that. So like for this page, for example, I printed it off 3 times. Well, no, I printed it off twice. Once for this paper to go inside the laminated pocket, and then again on cardstock because I wanted to make that as a traceable template as well. I didn't do that with every page, but you can if you want. So this is on a different page. This is page 8. So this template here is actually on page 29. So what I did is I printed it off with the color background, so that way I know this is a mat. I wrote my information from my guide, and now I've got it stuck to the page that it mats. So it's just for ease of use. Now, if you didn't want to make this book, you do not have to. You can literally print off as you want. If you didn't want to make the laminated pages, you can just use page protectors and, you know, stuff your stuff in there if you want to. You do not have to do it my way. There is no rules. You do you. So that's what I did for this one, the Everlasting. Again, the newest template is made the exact same way. The newest workbook, Wanderlust, is made the exact same way. And then if, like, for example, like here, the same belly band is on the page before. So I didn't make any mats or templates for this page because it's the same as this page. But it's stated in the guidebook. So that's how I made this one. And then I bind it with my Bind It All. Again, that's in the video. Let's see, what other information? Oh, I also do pockets, like just empty pockets, so that I have places to put things that I may not necessarily have somewhere to put it or in the book somewhere else. So I do make pockets just for extra random bits. Let's see. And so here, there was a couple sizes in this one. So, yeah, this one's got a lot in there. Let's see, what's all in here? See, I had printed off. For whatever reason, I had all of these extra things. So I just got them in here. So when I'm making another one, I've got all those extra things. I always look before I print, just in case there's something else there that, you know, I could use. And that way we keep it all in one place. I know it might seem a little extra to do all of this organization, but if you're like me, while you're creating, things get everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Like this, you know, mat for this pocket, I might lose it in the mess of scraps and cutoffs and all of that. So I try to make my life as easy as possible when I'm making a mini album, because that is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be stressful, right? So I like to make it as simple as possible for me to create every day. So this is the Everlasting workbook, right? And then the next one I made was the Remnants Lovely Layers. This one is made exactly the same as the Everlasting and exactly the same as the Wanderlust. So this one has mats as well. So this one has traceable, I cut traceable templates from the main base, the covers, and then it says mats on page 15. So there is my mat for this page, and I even put there that it was on page 15. So I have it on the page that it mats, just for convenience. So we just finished making these albums. They were so much fun. We made 4 different albums, and it was fun. They were all so beautiful. So this one's actually a smaller template, as you can tell. It's not as thick. So that's that one. And now we're back to this one. So this one is the Wanderlust. So the Wanderlust comes in 3 sizes. There's a large, medium, small. And it's available in 3 different bundles, all sizes, the large, the medium, and the medium small. And the reason I broke them up that way is because I designed this template to be a hybrid. Let me flip this back over. So, and then I also wanted to keep it separated. So if you just wanted to make a large traveler's notebook, then you can just go to that one PDF. But if you wanted to make a mini album, the components in the medium and the small fit inside the large. But I wanted to keep every one of them separate, so if you wanted to just make a large traveler's notebook style project, you can just open the large, and same with the medium, same with the small. But if you wanted to make a hybrid of both, you'll have all those different options. And in the coming videos, we're going to explore all those different options. And then if you just wanted to make a mini album, you again have all those different options of different page sizes, different pockets, different flips, flaps, envelopes, all of that. You have access to all of those different sizes. So I just didn't want to give you one large, because then you wouldn't have all those different sizes. So I broke it down to large, medium, so that you would have the option of the medium sizes, pages, envelopes, all of that. And then the medium small, so you have the option of the small to go inside the medium, so on and so forth. Okay. So I didn't print off a traceable template for every page, because this one is meant to be printed more directly onto your paper. I'm sorry about the glare. I wish I could fix that, but they don't make, I don't think they make laminated pouches that are like matte. I don't think they do that. So not all of them have traceable templates attached to the page. And also, you do not, again, you do not have to print. This could just be plain. You don't have to print the background design. I just think it's prettier. And especially since I'm recording videos, I think it's prettier for you guys to look at versus just a plain white, you know, rectangle. So this workbook, I've broken it up to, there's the large, whoops. So and then there's the medium, and then further in the back here is the small. What I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go put tabs on large, medium, small. That way it's just easier to find. And if you look, you can see I've already, see how it's thicker? I've already added things inside of the pouches because I've printed things off like, let's see, main base layer 3. I'm pretty sure there's things in here I haven't used yet. Or I haven't put them in here. Oh, let me see. Let me show you. So I do like a bazillion mock-ups. And even when I'm recording the videos for you guys, I still make mock-up pages to make sure that my idea is going to work. So like here's a page. Here is this page printed onto vellum. Isn't that beautiful? So this is one of my digital papers, and then I printed that first, and then I printed the plain version of page number 4 on here. So what I need to do is go through and put all these in their spaces because I could use this for future pages, right? So same with this page. Actually, this one was a boo-boo. I cut the wrong tab off. You know, there's, and where are those there? Oh, those weren't meant to be there. So these were left over from just practice pages that I was doing, all of that. So I just wanted to point out that is why I leave a pocket. Now, if you didn't laminate, you could do the same thing. You could just have your page protector, and then you could slide it in. Even if it's over top of the template, it doesn't matter. You just slide those extras in. So I'm just trying to keep myself organized while I'm creating. I think it's just less stressful that way. To answer the question, do you have to have a workbook? No, you do not. That is totally up to you. I find it easier. I find it fun to make, actually. I don't know why, but for some reason, this book makes me happy. So this is like a happy place. There's so much fun to be had inside of this book. So that is totally up to you. I find it easier to be able to say, oh, I want one of those real quick. I don't want to print off that whole page. I'm just going to trace that. And I've already got it there. Now, if I didn't already have it there, I would print one off and I would make a traceable template and then I would put it in the book. Does that make sense? So you could, technically, you could make all the pages, you know, all of the, you can print all of these pages off, make your workbook without any traceable templates, and you could do your traceable templates as you go. Like if, you know, you made the covers, well, now you have traceable templates, so you plop them in there, right? So you don't, technically you don't have to go through and print off everything twice. So in my case, I printed off almost everything twice. Like I didn't print this one off twice. So there, you know, I don't have a traceable template for this one. It's a full page, and I figured I would just print it out when I need it. These I did print off twice. So there's one in the paper copy and then one in the cardstock copy. So these are traceable templates. And the reason I did that is because, for example, this is small enough to use your scraps with, and you can trace this pocket out. And what you would do, let me just find something real quick. Here we go. Like this is from where we made the cover. So I could lay this on here. Let me move this. I could lay this on here. If I wanted a pocket this way, right, I could lay it on this piece of paper, and I could leave me a space here and a space here, and make sure I leave a space here. Trace around it, cut it out, and making sure I leave the space for the tabs. And that way I don't waste this paper. I have myself a pocket made out of this paper instead of printing off a whole new pocket. So that's the thought behind why some of these already have some traceable templates on top of the page itself, the workbook page. So again, you could do these as you go. You don't have to go through like I did for most of the pages and put the traceable template parts on there that I think I was going to use. None of the tags I have on here are traceable templates because I have given you a whole page of traceable template tag, or I mean a whole page of tags. Well, 2 pages actually. So all of these tags are throughout the template, but I think it's fun to have a whole page of tags. So if you wanted to print off a whole, you know, you'll have it ready to go. So the only ones in this template, the only ones that I made traceable templates for were the ones that were in the medium. That's because everybody that bought any part of this template, no matter which bundle you bought, you've got a medium template. So I put the traceable templates in the medium, but they are the same in the large and in the small. Let's see, what else? If you did not, here's another question I get. Well, I don't have a bind it all. I don't want to go buy a bind it all. What is that? I don't want to buy a binding machine. You could take page protectors and make it the same way that I made the Ultimate. Let's see. Or the Paper Dream. Actually, let's show you the Paper Dream. Oh, hang on. All these workbooks are heavy. So you could take the page protector, right, and you could slide it in. Now, page protectors already have holes poked in them. Most of them do. And you can just use binder rings. You do not have to make a whole book. You could use a binder, you know, and that works too. That's simple. You could use a folder, you know, those folders that have the prongs on them. You know, you can make your workbook out of anything you want. I do mine this way because I have a I have a binding machine. Because I think what happens is everybody thinks they need to do it exactly the way I do it. And you don't. You can make your workbook any way you want or not make a workbook at all. You can just print off the pages as we go, because I do tell you at the beginning of every video what pages we're going to be using, so you can go print those pages off and do what, you know, do the same thing that I'm doing. So I think my whole point in all of this is you do you. You do not have to do it the way I do it. I try to make it as simple as possible for myself, and if this is not simple for you guys, then you do it the way you want to do it, the way you find it, you know, the easiest to use. I think that when it comes to templates like this, there's so much to it, you know, to the template. There's the guide, there's all these pages, there's all these pockets, what goes with what insert goes where is that insert? All of that, I think, sometimes can get a little overwhelming. So I try to make it as simple as possible. I just want to say that you need to take it easy on yourself. Don't stress out about it. There are a lot of people in my Facebook group that can help you if you have questions or are willing to help you. I'm willing to help you. So if you're a member of my Facebook group, or if you're not a member of my Facebook group, you need to go ahead and become a member of my Facebook group. And there's a lot of people there that can help you. So if I can't help you right away, because they're all over the world, these people. So no matter what your time zone is, if I'm sound asleep in the middle of the night, there could be somebody there that can help you fix whatever issue that you're having. Okay, so let's get back. Let's go back a step. Let's go back to what I use on the back of my templates and what I use for my traceable templates. I print my traceable templates out onto 110-pound cardstock. Now, if you print your traceable templates out onto a thinner cardstock, like a 35-pound or a 65-pound or less, I don't even know. 65-pound might even work too. But if the heavier the cardstock, the better, okay? That way your template itself will not rip. The tape that I put, now I know I've already touched on this once, but the tape that I use is an ATG Tape Runner, but I do not use the ATG tape, okay? That tape is very strong compared to what I do use. This tape looks like this. I get it at Tape Depot. It's good tape. It's not bad tape. It's just not as super sticky strong. Do not, I repeat, do not use score tape, double-sided adhesive like like the strong double-sided adhesive, do not use that. So I use this version. This is from the Tape Depot. I use this. I run a little bit. You do not have to cover your whole template. You just need a couple inches, and then I put it on my arm, rub it like that, and I de-stick it ever so slightly. So then when I put it on my page in my workbook, it comes off easy, right? Sometimes I have to put some more sticky on there because it will wear out over time. It won't stick to my paper. It won't tear my paper when I'm tracing it. It won't tear that paper up. It'll stick a little, but when you pull it off, it doesn't rip anything. So that is very important. Don't skimp on your cardstock when you're doing your traceable template parts. I wanted to explain that just a little bit more, because if you just use flimsy paper or flimsy cardstock, sometimes I think it's called cover stock, where it's kind of like an index card weight. Do I have an index card here? Oh yeah. This is an index card, and this will tear. I can't show you what's on there because there's something on there you can't see. That weight cardstock will tear. So you need to do a little bit of, so you need to get the little bit heavier cardstock, even if it's just for your traceable templates. But I use 110-pound cardstock. I get mine at Staples. I don't have a package to show you, I don't think. Let me look. I do. So this is the cardstock I use. It's from Staples. And on the side here it says 110 pound or 199G. I don't know what that means because I don't. And there's 250 sheets, and it's about 20 bucks. So this is the exact white cardstock that I use, a 110 pound white cardstock from Staples. And I will link the Tape Depot place if I can find the exact listing. Actually, I probably should order some more. I will link the exact listing for you guys if you have an ATG gun and that's what you use. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, these workbooks do take time. They just take time. I don't think that you're gonna sit down and make this entire workbook in a couple hours. It's not gonna happen. So if you bought this template and you bought all 3 sizes, start with the large. You know, just start slow. Print all of your large templates onto just regular copy paper. Open up your guide, PDF, copy down your information, laminate all of those. You know, just start slow. Go step by step. Once you've laminated, then go through and print off the templates that you want to use as traceable templates, or wait until you need those and you print them off then, cut them out and use them as a traceable template then. But it does take time, and it's not, you're not going to whip it up super fast. It takes me time. You know, I do a little bit at a time. So I might sit down for a couple hours and do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, write all the things on there, whatever. But it could take me days to do a workbook. So don't think you're going to get it done really fast. Another point I want to make is a good reason to make your workbook, besides it makes your life easier while you're creating, is it makes you very familiar with what's in the templates. So you get very up close and personal to, oh, okay, that's a cool little pocket, or, ooh, I think that would make a cool flip on this type of page. It gives you ideas. It sparks your creativity. It's like it becomes family almost, your workbook. And you get that familiar with it when you go through this process of making a workbook. Sorry about the glare. So again, if you're not a part of my Facebook group, I'll put a link below. You just request to become a part of my Facebook group. There's a lot of helpful people there. And I hope that this video has helped clear up some of the confusion for workbooks. You don't have to make one. You can make one. I love them. It's a sense of accomplishment when I finish my workbook. It makes me very happy to have my workbook. So a year from now, I can come back to this template and I can whip up a mini album or a traveler's notebook super fast. It's just, for me, this is a very important step. But for you, you may not need it. So I'm trying to keep this covered over here. I guess I could flip the page. There we go. So if you have any more questions, do ask them in the comment section below. Don't forget to check the show more part, or click that little arrow if you're on your phone. There's a lot of information down there. And if you like this video and you found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, go ahead and hit this circle right here. Here's a link to my shop, and there should be some videos up here that you might find useful. I might put the workbook videos up here for you as well. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.